It's Saturday morning! It's 9 o'clock! It can only mean one thing! Yes! It's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show! Let's do this!
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Good morning, people. I hope you're all well. There's been a few sniffles going around, so I hope none of you have that, and I hope you're tucked up. I hope you've got a nice big breakfast and a mug of tea, some warm buttered toast, and you're ready to enjoy some magic reviews. So, what's up first? Well, it is another release by Nicholas Malrezes. He's been knocking it out of the park with his good mate David Jonathan and their trick Profile. Here's a new one. It's a nice little EDC. It is Bigger by Nicholas Malrezes. I was doing so well. Malrezes, yes. And this, as you can see, is basically a trick involving your small pocket lighter. So it does involve a lighter. So if you're going to be funny and associate that a lighter is linked to smoking and you don't want to do it, then this trick is not for you. But please bear in mind, lighters are used for lots of things, including lighting candles and my gas hob, because the button thing doesn't work. And they have been carried around and they are an everyday object. And this is a neat little organic everyday carry style trick that doesn't take up much pocket space. The effect is along the lines of the color changing knives really, but with only one lighter. You show a small Bic pocket lighter and you point out the logo of Bic. You then do a little move and show that it's now gone big, and it covers the whole of the mini lighter, and the logo has changed from Bic to Big. You then do another little move and show that you've made the lighter actually bigger, and now the logo says Bigger emblazoned right across the lighter. It's a neat, really simple, quick visual trick that's really, really easy to do. Now, you don't get the lighters with the trick for various shipping reasons. You wouldn't be surprised that shipping lighters with their flammable liquid inside is tricky. It's certainly expensive because it counts as a hazardous product. So we do get the gimmicks to put over the lighters that you have to buy. Finding the correct lighters is pretty easy on the internet. I tried, actually, I nipped to my local newsagents to see if they had the right lighters, the right size and the right shape and so on. And they didn't, but on the internet it's absolutely fine, and you'll even find a guide so you know that you want the Bic Maxi and the Bic Mini and so on. So getting a lighter isn't a problem. You don't really need to worry too much about the color of them or anything else, because what you get covers all of that anyway. The first half of the tutorial is about how to gimmick your lighters. It's very thorough. It is easy to do. There's a knack to it, and he sort of teaches exactly how to do it, the best way to do it, that you only really get from experience, and you're not going to want to be doing this, you know, you've only got a couple of gimmicks anyway, so you're only going to be doing it once or twice, so you don't really want to be messing it up. So it's great that they go, oh, you know, this is the mistake, this is how to do it properly. It covers everything. It's really, and like I say, it is easy to do, but you know, having the best technique to do it with, just peace of mind. You're going to need some scissors, you're going to need a little bit of glue. Other than that, everything else is provided. And then the second half of the tutorial is the teaching. And if you've watched the presentation and you know a little bit about magic, you'll know that there's only a few really simple moves involved. You've got the paddle move, which I'm sure most people know. It's great fun, the paddle move. It's really hard to fool yourself with it when you're doing it. But if you video yourself doing it and then watch the video, it works a treat. So I have a lot of fun with the paddle move. There's the spin move, and then there is the switch from the Bic Mini to the Bic Maxi, and that's taught several ways. All of them very easy to do. It's very basic sleight of hand to create this lovely visual, logical routine. The gimmicks come in two different colors, so you get a black set and a red set, and that opens up the element of some other longer different routines. There's a brief chapter on different things you can do, different kind of holdouts as well, that's all covered, and different switches too, depending on your skill level and how clean you want it to be and whether you want to go into your pocket or not. As Nicholas says, this is designed really to be a quick everyday carry, sort of impromptu on the fly kind of trick, and it's great for that. It doesn't take up very much pocket space. Once you've made up the lighters, they're pretty much indestructible. I guess the stickers are going to wear out eventually if you're carrying them around day in, day out, but it's only $15.99, so you can just buy complete replacements. It is a lovely little project for a quick little trick with a great tutorial that'll teach you all of the moves and all of the switches super clearly. And that is Bigger by Nicholas Mavrezes, and it's $15.99. Now, Nicholas Mavrezes is not the first person to play with this kind of trick with a lighter, so it wouldn't be fair if I didn't mention the Gaff Lighter project by Adam Wilbur, which is currently available at Vulpine Creations, vulpinecreations.com, I believe. It's normally $30. I think it's down to $15 as I checked the other day, and that is a very similar project. You don't get the lighters, but you get more of the gimmicks, and this project covers a lot more effects. You've got effects with cards for card reveals, you've got effects with coins, you've got moving logos, you've got a great picture of Banksy moving around. It is well worth investigating that. If Bigger appeals to you, then there's a good chance the Gaff project will as well, so please do check it out. Gaff Lighter project, Adam Wilbur, Vulpine Creations. Doing a sort of color changing knife routines with other objects has been around for donkey's years. One of my favorites was which sort of reminds me very much of Bigger by Nicholas, was Chad Long's he had the USB sticks. I can't remember what it was called, when the USB sticks would change color and then you'd end up with a really, really long USB stick. That was great. Very recently, for my fun bit of an everyday carry, I came up with this routine. So if you really want to test your creativity, have a look around. I can remember playing with the COVID test things as well, to have one on each side, so you can have a negative and a positive on each side. Not that many people were finding positive COVID tests very funny at the time. And now we have the Nemesis Deck by Nick LaCapo. This is brilliant. I love a do as I do routine, and this is one of those that has been working out in the gym and has reached perfection. It is a layman fooler and it is a magician fooler. The deck can be shuffled and examined from the start. The deck is then cut into two piles and your spectator chooses either pile. It doesn't matter, it's a free choice. They then select a card from that pile and they write the name of that card on a piece of paper. You do the same. They then put their card into your half of the deck, you put your card into their half of the deck. Those halves of the deck can be shuffled, and then the two halves can be shuffled together. And then here comes the real magic bit. You cut the deck to find a card and you place it on their piece of paper. They cut the deck and place it on your piece of paper. As it turns out, you have cut to their freely selected card and they have cut to yours. This is one of the best versions of this trick I have seen, and it is so easy to do. And as I said on my Facebook page, I love starting clean. So you've got this deck in play right from the start. You can do any trick you like with it, and have the, you know, and those be handled, examined, shuffled. It doesn't matter. It's brilliant from that point of view. And then you do the do as I do routine. Now there is a very bold moment. I say bold. There's a big move that can scare people. And there's no reason to be frightened, certainly not with this routine, because with all do as I do routines, half the time the focus is not on you but on your participant. So you've done your bit and then they have to copy you, and that is when that draws everyone's attention towards them, and all you've got to do is to relax. And if you know anything about Gary Kurtz, has a great book on attentive and relaxed states. This is nothing as complicated as that. It's just a moment where it's not about you, it's all about them. You can even take a step back, you relax, you can do the dirty, and you're good to go. And from then on, it is plain sailing. Nick teaches various different ways of doing this move, whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, whether you've got a jacket on. And by jacket, I just mean, you know, your pockets are up here. It could be a tracksuit jacket. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a blazer. Or whether you're going to do it from your trousers, whether it's going to be jeans or so on, or if you're at a table, obviously you've got other options available. And they are all really, really easy. He teaches it very clearly, lots of different angles, and it's nothing to be scared of. And if you are a complete beginner and you are nervous about this, or you're doing it with people who really burn you, and you know you've got some sort of challenging type person, you can always do the old back turn ruse and get away with the move that way, as you don't want to see which card they're writing down. So it is a super, super easy trick, and the power of it is just amazing. And it's one of those things as well where I like the idea that it feels like you haven't done anything. They have done the magic. Your participant has somehow cut to a card you have previously written down, and from a deck that they have been handling throughout the rest of your performance. It is a terrific routine for sure. Add to that, Nick teaches a few false shuffles. Should you want to do them, you can just do some cuts if you like. If you're not happy with the false shuffles, he teaches a sort of Zarro mashup, which is nice and easy to do. Does require a table. You know, if you're really interested, there are some pretty easy in the hands false shuffles or some false cuts that you can do. It's up to you. It's not really necessary. Just a couple of cuts is absolutely fine if you really want to. But both paths have been shuffled either by you or by the spectator anyway. So it's not that necessary to have a sort of particularly thorough or convincing mix at this stage. And then really, you've just got a lot of fun with the presentation. Nick uses a test conditions style presentation, which again is one of my favorites, because you really can play on how clean everything is. I really like it. I really, really like it. My only problem with it is it's not really a deck. To call it the Nemesis deck is a bit cheeky. There is also a bonus routine tool on it, which is very, very nice. Nick talks about a bigger project that might be coming out later, which is very, very exciting. I really, really like this, and it's an absolute, for the effect, it's an absolute bargain at $24.99. This is the Nemesis deck by Nick LaCapo. Next up, we have, again from Penguin, Transpo Travel by Louis Olmedo. This is another great trick by Penguin. They're just smashing it out of the park at the moment. The effect is a little bit like a sort of McDonald's Aces Transpo routine. You show a deck of cards and you take the two jokers out and you place them to one side. You then produce the aces however you wish, all four of them. Your spectator chooses one, and that is going to be the key ace. On top of that ace, you deal 3 indifferent cards. You then put the remaining 3 aces into the deck. You do a little move. When the magic happens, and you show that the aces have now vanished from the deck, the spectators will assume that the 3 indifferent cards have turned into the other aces. But when you pick them up and show them, those 4 cards visibly change into just 2, the 2 jokers. The attention is then turned to the 2 jokers you set aside previously, and that turn out to be the 4 aces. It's a great travel transpo. The real selling point for this, because there are lots of there are lots of transpo tricks out there. Doc Daly's is the first one that springs to mind, and all of the Jazz Aces by Peter Kane and so on, all sort of deal with this plot, and of course McDonald's Aces. The difference here is when the psychology of the fact that they think that the 4 aces are gonna be under their finger with the ace that they've chosen, and there's no real mention of the fact that that is what's going to happen. And it's not done in a phase way of 1 ace traveling at each time, but that is what they're going to assume. That is the logic here, and it's really nice because they've done all that in their head. So when you pick up those 4 cards and they turn visibly into 2, that is a real shock, stunning, great piece of visual card magic that is just jaw-dropping. And then you've just got this little turn to where the jokers were, and you show that they are now the 4 aces. It's really, really well constructed. It's super easy to do. The gimmicks that you get in here, they are so you're gonna have to provide your own deck to go with these gimmicks, and the gimmicks are bicycle rider decks, and you get some aces and some jokers to do the trick with. And so just remember red rider back and you'll be fine. One of the best bits about this is that it starts with Nick Lecapo explaining these gimmicks to you, so you can just see whether he has got any older or what he's done with his hair. Then you have Louis explain it, and what is very, very clever with Louis's explanation and his method is that he'll use psychological subtleties rather than sleights. Not that any of the sleights would be difficult, but he just doesn't think there's any need to use them because your participants and your spectators' minds will fill in the blanks. So for example, when you put the 3 indifferent cards down onto the chosen ace, you don't do a nice switchy display funny count on top of the deck and then deal them down to be super clean and to overprove your point. No, you just deal 1 down, slightly flash the second one as an indifferent card, and then deal the 3rd one down, and you're good to go. There's no reason at this point for them to suspect that you've done anything other than what you've just said. And really, the only thing you've got to learn is how to handle these gimmicked cards and how to spread them. And that's just down to the amount of pressure and where you hold them, and pretty much keeping your fingers still with a little bit of a vice-like grip. It does require the deck to be sort of completely set up in advance, so it's quite tricky to get into if you're going to do it in a sort of table hopping environment or moving around. If you're doing it for friends and family, it is great. Much like some of the things that have come out, really, these are just really brilliant stuff for the hobbyist at the moment. And I don't say hobbyist in a light way. I just mean a sort of environment that you're in where you're not too bothered about having a reset and so on. The transpo, I feel, is made super strong because so much of the work is done inside your participants, your audience's head. It's good fun. It's a visual transpo. It is Transpo Travel by Louis Olmedo, and it is just $23.99. Before I go any further, in case I forget, I must announce the winner of the Instagram video that I did to win Jackie Woo's 3-card Monty stands. And the winner is, I'm pleased to announce, with a guess of 23 likes. No, a guess of 22 likes. I got 23 likes. He guessed 22 likes. It's Magic Buzz! Well done, Magic Buzz. If you missed the video. Here it is.
Oh yeah, key you. Oh yeah, key you. There's nothing to lose. So if it's really true, oh yeah, key you. Yeah, key you. Oh yeah, key you. Oh yeah, key.
Yeah, that song is gonna be stuck in your head. I promise you. Please forgive me. I really shouldn't have done that to you. I am sorry. You'll have that in your head for the whole weekend. Magic Buzz, please let me know your real name and address and everything. You can contact me at info@monstermagic.co.uk or leave it in the comments if you don't mind everyone else knowing your name and where you live. Next up, we have The Pages Are Blank by Michael Feldman. Yes, wow, what a book this is. This was such an enjoyable read. Michael has a sort of what he says is a unique take on magic, in that he makes it perfectly clear to his audiences, or likes them to know, that magic doesn't really exist, and what he's going to be doing is deceiving them with his skill. And that's fine. I don't think it's a desperately unique idea, especially with card magic, as basically it's a card trick. If you're a really magician, I don't think you'd be messing around with finding cards in strange places. But it's a nice approach. And throughout the book, he has these sort of 19 routines that are his go-to routines, as it were, at the start. But throughout the book is littered with his thoughts and ideas. And really, he is the sort of person who seeks out the best move for the right occasion, regardless of how difficult it is. And that is my way of hinting at that this book is for the intermediate magician who wants to become an advanced magician, in my book. Or you might already be an advanced magician, in which case you can just pick up these tricks and do them. For me, I'm not good enough to do most of the stuff in here. I would have loved to have got this book 20 years ago when I had more time on my hands, and I would have sat down and I would be trying pretty much most of the tricks in here. They're not all really, really difficult. Some of them just require a palm, for example, or a ditch into your pocket, which is quite easy to do, really. But if you're going to get the most out of this book, you've got to be pretty good, and you've got to be spending a lot of time with it. The occasional sleight isn't actually taught. It'll just reference a book. Sometimes those references are a little obscure, but you've probably got a move that you can substitute in anyway. It's all nice and cleanly taught. It's all black and white, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be a colour. You know a heart's red, don't you? The first trick in the book is sort of sums up his approach, really, and it's a quite bizarre plot. Supposedly showing people the same card, but showing them two different cards that are similar, just different suits. So, for example, the Two of Hearts and the Two of Diamonds, so that they're not quite sure. They have a little bit of a brief argument over which card they actually saw, and then you show that those are in fact the only two cards in the deck has vanished. It's a really, really nice idea. It's probably the easiest trick in the book, but it will require a bit of acting, and that's the other thing about some of these tricks as well. You're gonna have to be a good performer as well to get the audience to react and play along in the same way. But if you can manage that, when they do, you're sort of leading them down a garden path half the time, and you'll have a lot of fun. And you'll have some really sort of unique takes on classic card tricks. So False Dictonomy is the first one I spoke of, with the cards being different. You then got Victory, which is like a triumph effect. For me, it's not that difficult, but John Guastafaro and other people have touched on a sort of walk around triumph effects in the hands, which are just sort of easier and probably a little bit better. You then have some nice sleights taught here, including the gin pick, which is picking a double up off the top of a deck that's been tabled, and you have his false shuffle, which is called Out with the Wash. Now this is the one that's in the trailer, and I really don't think anyone is gonna be doing it unless they are being paid to do parlor card magic. The setup, you have to be sitting down at a table. The setup, you have to make a few things. You have this, hold out. It's quite easy to do once you've built everything and it's all sorted. I don't want to say too much, but it's a lot of work and preparation in order to be able to do that. It's not something you're going to throw into your casual card working repertoire. Then you've got time one act, which is a sort of take on ace cutting routine. It's fine, not particularly my cup of tea. The trick that cannot be spell checked. If you know me, I've got a little bit of a love-hate relationship with spelling tricks. This is a novel take on it. Not the easiest card spelling routine, which you're probably gathering. This isn't an easy book, and probably not really worth the effort when there are so many other ways of doing it that are just easier and cleaner from my perspective. But then you come to what is really half of the book, is overcoming the signature, a trick called forgery, and other ways of getting a duplicate signature and tricks you can do when you've got a duplicate signature. Getting a duplicate signature is not a new idea. Guy Hollingworth in Drawing Rooms Deceptions came up with a neat little one which is very similar to Michael's. And there's also a brilliant book called Redesigning Miracles by Peter Groening, which does get a genuine duplicate signature. You're guessing by the fact that Michael's trick on here is called forgery that it's not a genuine duplicate signature, but it's a great exercise and it's really, really interesting to read. There's lots of humour in it as well, little bits of humour. Not too much, genuinely quite funny. And it's a great road to go around. Obviously, Michael's obsessed with this signature idea, and you can do a colour change with a duplicate, with a signed card. Pretty amazing. An anniversary waltz where you just seem to have the two cards in play. The deck's not there. And then they become bound together. That is a really, really neat idea. All of these things make these tricks better. Whether or not they are worth the effort to you is again up to you. Anniversary Rolls which popularized by Doc Eason, is probably one of my favorite card tricks. It's probably rated as one of the best card tricks ever. To try and make it better is good, but whether or not you are genuinely doing it because from a magician's point of view you've made it more amazing, or whether you have made it more amazing depending on how people remember the trick, is a question you have to answer for yourself. I'm not so sure, but I do like the idea. I do like the boldness of being able to get a signature duped, and it does open up a whole new world, and it's well worth reading. It's a terrific read. Each trick is broken down with a sort of description of the effect, followed by the setup, followed by the choreography, lots of pictures, and then there's a little breakdown bit at the end, and some tips on the presentation or how Michael presents it. It's a great book. It really, really is a great book. It'll get you thinking about your magic. There's very little that you're going to pick up and do. As Michael says, these are his go-to routines. If these are going to be your go-to routines, you really need to get practicing and to really keep redoing them very often. If you're looking for a challenge, if you've got a lot of time on your hands, then The Pages Are Blank is for you. It's Pages Are Blank by Michael Feldman. And just quickly, we've got time for a little blast from the past. It's Priceless by Michael Hewell and Richard Sanders. This, 10, 15 years ago, was a dynamite trick. It is a hilarious mentalism routine. It's great for stage and it's great for close-up. The effect is that you simply ask people for how much they think your jacket or your whatever you happen to be wearing cost you, and you write that down on a piece of paper. It could be right down to the pennies and pence. You can have other people shout out different numbers and so on. Lots of humour here, depending on what they say, whether they, you know, they say 1p or whether they say £1,000 and so on. You write that down, you then take your jacket off and show that you've still got the security tag on it because you didn't actually pay for it, but the price tag matches the price that they said. It is great for comedy. It is a complete fooler. The tutorial covers so much. You get 24 separate videos, from the setup, from the care of the gimmick, to writing down the price, to how to show the price at the end, even sort of how to take the jacket off, and the various places that you can position the security tag. So it can just be on your back, on outside the jacket. It doesn't have to be inside the jacket. It is just a super, super fun mentalism routine that I just highly recommend. If you want to add a little bit of comedy with an easy to do fun trick that engages the whole audience, then Priceless fits the bill. The only real drawback is it's $67.99. That is priceless. Oh, and that's the end of the show. That's it for another week, I'm afraid. Please do subscribe if you don't already. I don't know what happened last week, but I got a bundle of new subscribers. I'm edging very close to the 800 mark. 1,000 is the goal, because that opens up some YouTube features. So please do subscribe. It will help my channel, and it does make my heart skip a beat of joy. Also, like the video, and please do comment if there's anything that I've missed out or you want to know. I'm happy to answer any questions. If there's something you want me to talk about next week, just pop it in the comments. But that's it. So get out there, grab some magic, and have a lot of fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye bye.